Good morning, everyone. It's Jody, live from my office. I'm on here as a teacher today. So for those of you that don't know or only know me as a photographer, my number one gig is as an elementary school teacher. So I've had different friends reach out to me and ask me for activities or ideas. And I just thought that why not post a few things to help keep you guys entertained and hopefully to try and dispel a few misconceptions. So it's easy to, grab a workbook, and I suggest that you do if that's convenient for you. But just remember that when you're working with your child at home, it's really about teaching for understanding and not so much about getting the right answer. I feel like you'll save yourself a big headache and your child a lot of stress if you just focus on having a little bit of fun and learning and working for understanding and not for just getting the activity complete and having the right answer at the end. So that's a big number one in my classroom, is that we don't learn unless we're making mistakes. So as an adult who's now on the other side of the coin, not as the learner but as the teacher, I think I'm just going to highlight day by day one or two little things that I think would be helpful when you're working with your child at home, and lots of different ages as well. So for today, I think I'm going to focus on equals. So you're probably starting with some addition or some subtraction, multiplication, division, depending on where you are. But the number one thing I want you to take away from today is that equals doesn't mean the answer. And I'm sure there's a few high school math teachers that are going to appreciate this. So what I'm going to do, maybe, I don't know how to turn this around. Farts. All right, so I clearly need some work with technology. But here I am, here's today's big idea. Equals does not mean the answer. Oftentimes, we don't do it on purpose, but as adults, we forget how a kid is going to interpret some of the things that we say. So when you're doing simple little addition facts at home, and maybe this is started in kindergarten or even before your child has entered school, we start saying things like 1 + 1 = 2. And kids get really excited and we get really proud of them, and then maybe they come up with 2 + 2 = 4. And oftentimes they'll even just be memorizing these sentences over and over. So it really has no meaning to them. But over time, they start to think that equals right here, because everybody applauds when I say 1 + 1 = 2 and I get the right answer, that equals then translates into the answer, and when I get the answer, then people are happy and they're proud of me. So this becomes a little bit of a problem later on, and I often would see this in grade 1 and try and dispel this early on. So the sooner you can do it, the better. There's probably some kids who've made it all the way to high school and who still have this understanding here, or a misconception that equals means the answer. Equals, if we actually think about language and what it means, is the same as. So something equals another thing. It's about a balance. So oftentimes I'll show kids this as a bit of a teeter-totter. Meaning the equals is the balance, and that teeter-totter can sway either way, but ultimately we want to have a balance. We want to have it level in the middle. Okay, so let's go down here, because we're probably seeing a lot of questions like this written out: 2 + 3 = 5, in this really linear fashion from left to right, with our parts over here equaling our sum or our total. But what I want to encourage you to do is, when you're doing simple little problems like this, is to sometimes write it this way. With our sum on this side, 5 equals or is the same as 3 and 2. And actually, you notice that I said and right here as well. I didn't say plus. That is the notation as a plus sign or an addition sign. But I'm really careful about the language that I use, saying and, because we're putting those together. The 3 and the 2 together combined is the same as 5. It's a balanced model right here. If I were to put that on the teeter-totter, they would be the same, okay? Even further, we can start breaking it down like this. So you'll notice I don't have the one whole number, the sum, written down, but this is a correct representation of 5. We've got 3 and 2 on this side is the same as having 2 and 2 and 1. We're going to get the same whole when we add these parts up together. Okay, and so you'll see I've referred to them as parts as well. I'm just going to show you another model right here. Here's another way of looking at that. Oh, I'm sorry, I've changed my whole now to 10 from 5. But you can see that my whole number is on the top, and of that whole number, I split it in half, and I've got 2 parts. So 5 and 5 together is the same as 10. Or, even cooler yet, I might take that whole then and split it up into, or split my 5s up into smaller parts. So now I can say, I know that, I guess that's not very accurate. You'll see why I erased this here. Okay, you can see how I start to break that whole up to show all the different combinations of how 10 can be made. So on this side, I've taken my 5 and I've broken it down into 3 and 2. And over here, my 5 into 5. All right, so I'm back. I ran out of room on my phone. Anyway, here's our model again, our part whole model, which is just a beautiful representation of how we can put our parts together in order to create a whole. Just another way of getting away from that linear thinking, you know, of 5 plus 5 equals 10. We can see it here. 10 is made up of 2 5s, or it can be made up of a 3, a 2, and 5 1s. It can be made up of 5 2s. And this model is really nice because if you're working with bigger numbers, you can see the relationship in our place value system to 10. And it just kind of, it does a really good job of helping your child see how we can build and break those numbers apart. We can keep going if we wanted. You get the idea. Okay, down here, this is just a little bit more of a more primary example. You can see I've got 5 represented in 3 different ways, 5 fingers, 5 tally marks, but not one of these shows that 5 is the answer or equals is the answer. They're all balanced, they're all the same, okay? I wrote down Go Fish for 10. This is a fun little game you can play. Instead of making pairs that match, your matches should add up to 10. So this little chart is super helpful for your child. But yeah, play Go Fish as a family with it if you've got a deck of cards, and the only way you can make a match is if all of your cards add up to 10. They'll get the hang of it. And then of course you could always change the value and play Fish for 100. And I also would encourage you to check out this website, Matthies.ca. It's sponsored by the Ontario Ministry of Education. You'll click on games and then go down to the representation match, which I can show you here on my screen. This is the main page. And then you'll click on, oh, sorry, I lied to you. That's not the main page. This is the main page here, and you'll click on games, which will take you to where I just was. And there's actually games on here for all different age groups. The whole numbers, catch a bouncing ball is a lot of fun. There's trigonomic functions on here if you really wanted to get into it. But I would encourage you to start with the representation match for whole numbers right here. That's this game. And then you'll just click on open, and I've already got it open for you. And this is the screen that you'll come up to. And let's say that we're advanced. So we're going to be working on numbers from 0 to 20. Down here it says choose 2 or more representations that you want to be matching. We've got the tally marks, dice, which is another way of being able to recognize numbers. This is called a reckon rack, and it's split into 5s, the 5 red, 5 white, to help your child see how 10 can be built. These are called tens frames, maybe you recognize them. You can see the counters placed on the mat to show this is a whole 10 plus 2 to make 12. Dots, a number line, which is my #1 favorite, and I'm going to get into this a little bit more in my future episodes. And then we actually have just the numerical representation. So oftentimes we get stuck showing just this, and these are all the other ways that we can show a number, and actually these do a better job here of showing how much a number actually is. Okay, so I'm going to click on 3 just to get us started, and then I would hit play. And right now they're face up, so you can actually flip the cards over, and you would play just like a memory game where I click on 1 and I can see that that is 10 and 5, so 15. Click on another one, and I've got 6 and 6 is 12, 13, 14, so that's not a match. I can flip the cards over, and this is a good way to get started just to help your child get used to the game, because it's a lot to process. Not only do you have to be counting, holding on, and retaining a total, but then you have to be finding an equal match for it as well. So I would suggest starting with this one. So here's my 15 and 15. Yay, and I get a match. Okay, so this is a really fun one to play. Okay, I swear I'm almost done. This website here is also a huge favorite. It's called SolveMeMobiles. So I'll also post the link in the comment section of this video. But I'm going to show you a little bit about SolveMeMobiles. You can start out really, really young. I would say anybody around 6 or 7 years old could start using this website, but you would have a lot of fun with it as an adult as well. So hopefully I've caught a few teachers on here, and maybe you'll enjoy playing this as well. So what you do when you go to the website is you're going to click on the mobiles. And one thing I guess I should mention, the big idea here, equals, does not mean the answer, that it's a balance. That's actually an algebraic concept. So that's algebra, and we start really, really young with the balance model. So I clicked on play. When I'm in here, I'm just going to go to the very first one. And these work sequentially, these puzzles, so they get progressively more difficult. So you can see here in puzzle 1, we have a mobile. We've got the hole at the top, and then that hole has been split into 2 equal parts. The whole idea is to find the equal balance, and what each symbol represents. So we can see we've split this into 5 and 5, 2 equal parts to make 10. I can hit the submit button over here, and it'll tell me my answer is right. But I just want to show you when you get the answer wrong, what happens. You can see that my mobile tips. It shows right now that the value here of the circle is greater than that of the triangle, so my model isn't balanced. So this is going to be an incorrect answer. When I go back to 5, you can see that it's equal. So then I would hit submit and go on to the next puzzle. So actually this puzzle here showed the whole, and then it was our job to figure out what the 2 equal parts were. This one's missing the whole. So it actually gives us 1 part, and we use this information to help us figure out what the missing part is in order to get our whole. So they have to be balanced. So 7 on one side, 7 on the other. We should have an equal model. Okay. Down here, you can see it gets a little bit more difficult. The value of the trapezoid is 2. So I've got 2 of them, meaning this is 4, so my moon needs to equal 4 as well. So they get progressively more difficult. One really cool feature, and actually it's got a little tutorial down here, it'll tell you if you want to mark this up. Maybe I'll pick black to help you see it. I can start to now break this apart. So I know this is 2, this is 2, this is 2, and this one's going to be 2. If this here all adds up to 6, I've got 2 over here. I need how many more to get to 6? So 6 is my total. I've got 2. How much am I missing? Oh, look at that. It turns it into fancy writing. You can see that my answer is going to be 4. Okay. Another cool feature while you're in here is you can actually pull and drag the mobile over here. Click it. Oops. And it shows you the actual algebraic expression. So 4 orange circles is going to be the same as 2 blue triangles plus another orange circle. So you can see how the balance model here lends itself to understanding, but then you can actually reinforce the skill or the concept by showing the algebraic expression over here. So this website is amazing, and you will have a lot of fun with it. When I go back to the puzzles menu, you can actually click on higher difficulty levels. So in the puzzler one, this one, the whole number is actually 1. So now we go ahead and start working with rational numbers, which are our fractions and our decimals. So this is a really amazing website, and I encourage you to check it out. All right. That took a lot longer to put together than it was for you to watch it. But I appreciate your patience, and hopefully you learned something and you feel a little bit more confident taking this to your child, and actually you're excited to have some fun with it. It shouldn't be about worksheet after worksheet after worksheet. think of the big idea, focus on the lesson from today. Equals is not the answer. Make a silly song about it if you want. And yeah, have some fun checking out the websites and playing some of those card games. And I'll be back. Talk to you guys later.